Hello gamers, and welcome to another Tower of Fantasy video. In this video, we will be taking a look at the third raid, and I will share all that I know about this raid and how to complete it. Before I start, I would like to ask you that if you end up finding this video helpful, to consider helping the channel out by leaving a like and subscribing. Alright, back to the topic. I like to start with the rewards so we know why we are doing this. If you complete this raid, you'll obtain 1800 energy crystal dust and 20 clusters. These rewards are better than the reward from the previous raid, but also the difficulty of this raid is a bit higher. To participate in this raid, you need to be at least level 70, and the raid recommends 48,000 combat score. But similar to the other ones, this is just a recommendation. I think you should have at least 40,000 combat score for a smooth experience. Just like the other raids, this raid requires 8 people, and I think you should do this with a full raid. Every person will count towards making this raid a lot easier. In this raid you will be facing 2 bosses, Darkstar 1, which is the red one, and Darkstar 2, which is the yellow one. They are fairly similar in mechanics, and the only noticeable difference between them is that the red one is vulnerable to fire and the yellow one is vulnerable to frost. As you know by now, resistances are not that important for the vast majority of players, as we cannot afford to build every single element. But if you happen to be a whale, you might want to use your fire or frost weapons for this raid. There are 2 main mechanics in this raid. If the bosses are close to each other, they will heal, making it impossible to complete the raid. And the second one is that if the shield phase is failed, the person closest to the boss will be teleported in a small room with the boss. And here they need to survive while the other people outside will have to destroy a portal that spawns. If the people outside don't destroy the portal in time, the person will be teleported to the middle of the arena, often enough downed or dead by that time. It's not impossible to survive in that room, but it can be unlikely if you don't have any heals. A note here should be that relics like Alternate Destiny cannot be used in that space. Other than those 2 mechanics, the bosses will have mostly identical abilities. There are 3 of them that are more important and you will have to look out for. The most annoying move is the slow. The boss will spawn a globe that explodes and creates an area similar to the slow Nemesis creates. This area does not deal damage, but slows you down by a considerable amount. You can dodge in the short window before the orb explodes or use CC immunity. Alternatively, you will have to very slowly walk out of it. The second ability is the black hole. From time to time, the boss will spawn a black hole. This does massive damage in close proximity, so you will want to move away from it as soon as possible. The third ability is the grab. The boss will attempt to grab someone. If they are successful, they will start dealing massive damage to them. Similar to Apophis, you should save up a discharge ability to break out of this. Other than these abilities, they will have some other abilities, like electrifying their hands and dealing range damage, or spawning some walls that push people away. But they are not as impactful as the previous mentioned mechanics, so since I'm trying to give you the most relevant information, I see no point in wasting your time explaining every single one of them. Alright, so now that we have a basic understanding of the mechanics involved in this raid, let's talk about the strategies to complete it. There will be 3 of them that I know, and each of them has certain benefits and shortcomings. For the first strategy, you'll have to split the raid into 2 teams, and each of them will be tanking one of the bosses on different sides of the room. As you enter the boss room, one team will want to take the path to the left and go on the opposite side of the room. From there, they will aggro one of the bosses, while the other team will aggro the other boss. Pretty straightforward. The advantage of this strategy is that it's pretty easy to pull off. The disadvantages of these strategies are that it can be pretty hard to do the shield phase if people don't play perfectly, and the fight will last considerably longer. So there are 2 other strategies that will work. The second strategy involves fighting only one boss at a time. So for this strategy to be successful, everyone needs to go up on the pillar on the left as you enter the boss room, or wait outside until one boss has been pulled. To pull only one of the bosses, you want to attack them from out of sight, wait a few seconds, then reveal yourself. Once he starts moving towards you, you can hide out of sight again. After the boss has been pulled, you will have to fight them at the entrance, and never cross the red line on the floor. If you cross that line, it will aggro the other boss. An important note here is that you must not use Nemesis Simulacrum trait or any ability with a range bigger than 25 meters, as this will, again, aggro the other boss. The advantages of this strategy is that you only have to fight one boss at a time, making the whole fight pretty fast and pretty trivial when it comes to punishing mechanics. The disadvantages of this strategy is that you have to fight in a contained area to make sure you don't aggro the other boss. This is my favorite strategy, and I think once people learn to use it properly, it will become the most popular one. But if for some reason this strategy does not work for you, there will be a third strategy available. I would like to thank Stranger from my guild for sharing this strategy and showing us how to perform it. This strategy involves one person kiting one of the bosses while the rest of the raid fight the other one. To achieve this, similar to the previous strategy, you will have one person going on the boss room while everyone waits outside, or if people go in, everyone will have to stay on top of the pillar at the entrance of the room. The person that does the kiting will have to go around to the opposite side of the room and climb on the pillar there. Once on the pillar, they will pull one of the bosses to them. They will have to maintain this boss aggroed on them for the whole fight. If they just stay on top of the pillar, after 30 to 45 seconds the boss will reset. So they will have to climb up and down the pillar every 15-20 seconds. They will have to perform this very quickly, otherwise the boss will teleport them away and mess up all the strategy. The rest of the team will be fighting the other boss, and once that boss is killed they will come and help as well. The advantage of this strategy is that you don't have to worry about the other boss aggroing, and you have a lot more space to fight the boss. The disadvantage of this strategy is that one person needs to put in a lot of effort and has to perform extremely well. There is a high chance that this skilled person will be someone that can dish out a lot of damage, so you will be missing out on that damage, resulting in the fight lasting a lot longer than if all 8 people were focusing the boss. Personally, I like this strategy the least, and since it is uncertain if it will be fixed or not in the future, I prefer to use the other 2 strategies. This is all there is to know about the third raid in Tower of Fantasy. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please consider helping the channel out by subscribing. See you in the next one, adventurers.